Hello there, and as usual, I'm Aaron from Laststandgamers, and welcome. So in this video, we're jumping into a little bit more action on the plane server. So what we're going to be seeing is two different base raids. Now there's a lot of battling that goes on this server, and sometimes the reasoning behind it can be a little bit misty. So in the comment section, if anyone involved in this battle would like to fill us in about it, then it would be pretty cool indeed. Anyway, let's begin the carnage. So jumping into the action, what I can work out from the footage I've watched is BLK have been annoying quite a few of the other factions. They've been battling with them, they've been trying to take their bases, destroying their ships, and a coalition of factions has formed. Now, the issue with the coalition of factions, as we've seen in previous battles, is they can form a bit of a mob mentality that you can see right here, and because of that, it's a bit of an uncoordinated mess of attacks from different factions. You can see BLK here launching some of their really cool little bike rovers out, trying to take the fight to this massive faction that are outside. Now, BLK's base have some great advantages in this situation. The first one, that they only have one narrow tunnel of approach right down the center, but you can still see that Conrod is quite clearly destroying them bikes. That air superiority, just look how many of them are out there trying to bring it into the faction. But at this point, no one is brave enough to try and get themselves down there into the hangar, but this won't last long. As the players notice the defenses start going down, they're going to start to get a little bit more confident. You can see the rockets coming in there. So now the fighters are starting to drive down the tunnel with a wall of Gatling gun fire. But BLK do have a little bit of a surprise for them. Tucked in one of their little side areas here, they have a little bit of an APC. Now, you will have to bear with me that some of the wheels are missing from this video for some reason. I don't know what happened to it at the time, but that little grey shadow on the left-hand corner of the screen is BLK's APC. And the team are in high morale as they're pushing down there until the APC starts to roll out to the side. The rest of the faction are trying to gear up some of the weapons. And here we go, the APC is starting to strike. It's got a rotor-based turret on the front, and it's got a Gatling turret on top, so there's two players controlling that. And one of the coalition factions rams it, his body going straight into the ceiling. That looks absolutely ridiculous, but his ship gets taken out in the process. The APC's gyroscope, though, is disabled. The top turret has been shot out as well, so one of their main defensive elements of this shaft has been destroyed. You can see the rest of the coalition have started to come in with some helicopters and other equipment, but a lot of this is quite lightly armoured. The Gatling gun turret on the back is still operational, and it is putting some serious firepower down on that helicopter until there it's been destroyed. Of course, in the process, I think the helicopter got disabled, and the rest of the factions start to pile up down the shaft. Now, in this sort of moment in these battles, the faction that are attacking start to lose momentum, and you can see it. It's caused by two things. You can see BLK with that little motorbike rover wheels disappeared, scooting around and absolutely mowing players down with them Gatling gun turrets. You can see it shoots right through that guy. But the momentum of the attacking force at this point has been lost. Players are coming in drips and drabs, and because of that, BLK, with their defensive sort of system here, they can quickly shoot them as they enter through the tunnel or get stuck on wreckages of previous ships that have tried to get down there. So you can see there's quite a few planes that have tried to go in here, and really they should have just stayed out of the perimeter. They should have sent either helicopters in or tried to get a ground force together. But BLK and the other faction are having a lot of fun at this point. BLK are holding on for dear life as they scoot around with their little motorcycle shooting at them. But of course, the motorcycle won't last long, and the direct missile strike hits it. Really still quite intense going on in this tunnel. Both teams are really fighting for the bitter end. You can see one of these little biplane type ships is coming in, Gatling guns fully firing, and BLK are still holding the tunnel. BLK are on the right here, and they're gunning down some of the attackers right there. And you can see they're holding their main area refinery. Void's little drone operated ship tries to come in here and do a little bit more damage, but it's quickly shredded apart with the remaining turrets and some of the other infrastructure that they've got. Mainly at this point they're using the assault rifles and some of the small bikes that they've got remaining. You can see some of the fire. Now that brings an end to the BLK raid. A great defense and a great attack. Now both teams really didn't benefit too much from this battle. There's a lot of carnage left from attackers, but let's move ourselves on. So this is actually BLK, the base that got attacked. They are now becoming the attackers, and they're attacking NDA. So you can see they're coming straight in with these cool little bomber type ships. You see they've got the Italian flag going across them, and they are diving all over the valley to avoid the flak fire from them turrets. You can see they've already started to disable some of the Gatling gun turrets, and that's what they need to do. To get air superiority in this fight, they need to disable NDA's fighters and take out their turrets. That won't be an easy task. Every strafe they do, they're going to get engaged and start to take some serious damage. So you can see one of the turret towers of NDA is already being destroyed, ripped apart by that strange little fighter aircraft there. Really cool indeed. You can see there's also one of the larger bombers. They're a bit larger, I'm guessing, because they have the respawn pod on board. And because of that, the players can deploy for them if they decide to land. So it is a cool design, but you're adding weight to the aircraft. That's going to make it less maneuverable over other ones. But look at that. There's nothing like seeing planes in the sky just swooping in around a base. But NDA's base is taking nice shape as well. You can see they've got a nice runway there. Skipping it a little bit further ahead, you can see that BLK are coming in for a bombing run on one of the NDA ships that's trying to take off. And of course, he overcooks it because he's an aircraft fighting a helicopter. And the helicopter or vertical takeoff sort of device, well, I don't know what the hell that thing is. It's just a ship covered in rotors. Managed to deliver some vital rocket strikes. NDA's base here seems like it needs a lot more defenses going on. With these turrets starting to come down, BLK are really finding the weaknesses. They realise that there isn't much defending underneath the base, and they decide to park a ship under there. So you can see they're trying to shred through the base. There's some miners and welding type craft there. And with that done, they place the med kit and they place their player down at the bottom, and he's going to bail out and try to get up there. Now over on the plains, we've got more fighting going on. You can see there's a little bit of a fight between a small fighter and one of the larger bombers, the small one being more maneuverable, and they're also trying to get some ships back into the air. The underneath the base attack is going strong as well. The players are actually using assault rifles trying to fire down, because this is definitely a hole in NDA's sort of defense underneath here. So the players have come down and tried to sort it out with their assault rifles. A good idea. Of course, BLK have still got some planes in the air at this point, and with their anti-aircraft systems down, NDA are in a situation where they are getting strafed. The helicopter, even though it's very maneuverable, just can't accelerate as quick as these aircraft. Oh, that was a close one. It's the impact. It could have ended a lot worse for him. Luckily, he used his wheels to absorb it. But you can see it flying around up at the top left there, trying to engage the aircraft. Now, BLK have also brought in some rovers, either as a respawn bay or to count out maybe the supplies that they thought they were going to get. But with their attacks starting to stumble here, NDA come in with a rocket run. Now, I believe at this point as well, NDA are calling in for some reinforcements from some fellow factions. They've yet to arrive, but you can see that strange quadcopter helicopter device is laying waste to some of these vehicles that have been parked down in the valley, either because they've been disabled or they're trying to move up from a different angle. It's a weird ship, that. Pretty cool in design. It looks really well armoured as well. Now, as we drop into the valley, we'll start to see BLK using some more of their motorcycles. Of course, the air superiority of NDA is really raining down some hurt on them. If you don't own the skies and you're running around on the ground, you're going to be in some trouble, as we're finding out. So BLK have resulted now to their motorbike type attacks. They've still got turret systems they're trying to deal with, but these motorbikes are quite agile. As we saw them doing with a sort of tunnel defense, they can dish out a lot of damage, but they're really out of the depth in this sort of terrain. And you'll notice as they move up and down around the hills, the men with assault rifles can really get one up on them. So as he's bouncing down the hill here, he's trying to turn around, and as soon as them gyroscopes are out, they're in big trouble. Now, this looks to me like BLK have brought in a little reinforcement rover. This has got a med bay on, as well as a Gatling turret on top, and they're trying to bring this, of course, into a position where they can spawn on it, but they've been spotted. Now they've been spotted, some rockets are raining down. And what's going to be quite fun here is them Gatling gun turrets aren't AI controlled on our server, so we're going to need someone to jump in. So here's another BLK member spawning the med bay. He's jumped himself in, and he's straight on that turret trying to engage and keep that aircraft off him. It's lovely to see a server where both rovers and planes and hovercraft, all sorts of things, are being used in conjunction with each other. Really nice to see. Usually rovers are quite neglected. So the respawn vehicle now is getting into a position. Of course, some of the NDA guys have come out on the foot and are trying to shoot it out. We've got a bailer there getting nailed, and of course the Gatling gun turret on top of the rover managed to shoot out the NDA member. But that isn't over. Something quite crazy is about to happen. So over the hill comes a captured plane trying to, of course, ram that respawn rover. But that's not it for the captured plane. He decides he doesn't want to be a plane anymore, and becomes a car, and it becomes a plane and car chase. That's a really strange combination. There's no weapons left on that ship since it was damaged and managed to be put quickly back into action by NDA, and now he is chasing that car around, slightly floating, slightly chasing. Oh, what a weird situation to be in. If you were driving that rover, he's just kicking trees out the way, losing his wings, and of course the rover's starting to stall going up the hill, and the plane's coming up right behind him. It looks like the plane's got a little bit more power. Oh, he's nearly over the top, but no, he's just couldn't make it, and the plane's come right up behind him and smashed straight into their survival kit, disabling the survival kit and stopping anyone from respawning there. Of course, there's one player left, and he decides to do like a reverse drive-by down the side of the hill as the plane backs off, taking out more trees. A really weird fight to end this one on, but definitely a cool little battle. Anyway, if you were involved in these fights as either the players or other factions, let us know what happened. Let us know what were the lead up, what were the aftermath, or if you're just watching and commenting, what was your favourite part about this battle. Anyway, I'd like to thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.